Hi, I'm Illusion Dispeller. Welcome back to Warning Signs, Part 3. Obviously, the series isn't all about warning signs, but it'll lead up to some of the things that you can look for in relationships, some of the things that you need to make sure are there in your relationships. Now we're going to talk about emotional availability. Um, you have to listen very carefully to your partner. What is emotional availability to them? What is it they need and want in a relationship? Um, for instance, they may say, we really need to work on things before we can truly be open with each other. What that's saying is they don't feel total trust with you. They feel that there's things that you do that disturb them or concern them. And before they can be totally open and honest with you, they have to feel that bond, that trust, that safety and security with you. Do you constantly talk about your old relationships? Guilty as charged. I tend to compare relationships a lot. I will say, well, this person said this or that person did that, and my ex-husband said or did this. I'm very guilty of that. Still working on that one. Important if the other person in your partnership is not comfortable always hearing about your ex-boyfriends or ex-lovers or ex-husbands or wives, that you don't do that. Don't go there. Um, Again, easier said than done, and I'm very guilty of this myself. I'm such an analytical person that I tend to analyze one relationship by the other ones. So, unfortunately, it's definitely a struggle I'm still struggling with. Um, Notice how your partner handles conflict. Do they totally end things when you have a disagreement? Do they run out the door? Do they sit and pout? And can you live with this? Is this something that you think that they can work through? Or is it something that really just, there's no way, it's intolerable, it's a deal breaker, it's over if they do this? You want to keep note of that fact throughout the relationship. Um, do they slowly bow out of an argument? Or do they just say, that's it, I'm done, I'm not talking about it? And which thing affects you more? Does it bother you when somebody just totally cuts off the conversation and decides it's over? Or does it bother you if they just sort of say, let's talk about this later? These are all things you need to know about your relationships before they get super serious. You want to be watching for how they handle conflict. Do they stick to what they say they're going to do? This, again, is a big thing for my partner, being that he was traumatized. He wants to know that he can rely on me. If I say I'm going to do something, that I'm going to do it. And we should be able to rely on each other. But let's face it, sometimes things come up. Sometimes we forget to let the other person know that plans changed. And that can cause a real rift in relationships where somebody's been traumatized. They're depending on you to keep your word. They're depending on you to be there if you say you're going to be there. Or they want to know a really good reason why you're not. So that's important to see where that is in your relationship. What do they think of your friends and family? Are they okay with meeting them and getting together with them? And what do you think of theirs? It's not just one-sided. How do they relate to your friends and family? And how do you relate to theirs? Do you like them? Is there kind of a thing against you with the family? Or against him with your family? Is this going to cause a long-term problem? Because really, when you get close to somebody, you really do want to have somewhat of a relationship with their family. Because let's face it, and maybe this isn't always the case, but in my relationships, the guy always had some connection with his family. He did family things together growing up, or in some cases, they absolutely hated each other, but once in a while they had to be together. So, what is the relationship between you and their family, or them and your family? And is that doable? Is it something that in the long run is going to cause big time problems between you? Or is it something that you can work through? So look for that. Let's see. The next thing. How open is your partner with you? Do they withhold information from you? Are there things they won't talk to you about? Does this bother you? And how open do you feel you can be with your partner? How important is that to them? These are all things that, again, before you get super serious in a relationship, and especially before you get married, you need to know how much that other person is going to be open with you, and how much you feel comfortable being with them. This is important because if the other person is very shy or just doesn't like sharing things and doesn't talk about their feelings, it can cause a really big problem in the long run. And also, if you are like that, or if you're too open with your feelings, can make the partner uncomfortable. So, just a couple things to think about. Stay tuned for the next video. I will be talking about consistency. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.